What's up, guys? So I'm back in the shop working on another first gen CRV. This one came in today. It needs a valve adjustment, and he told me to just look it over, see if there's anything else that it needed. He wanted me to go ahead and do a valve cover gasket, and like a fuel filter and some other stuff. So I checked it over, and I found that the oil pan gasket is leaking. So I'm about to run up to AutoZone and get one of the Felpro Perma Dry Plus gaskets, and then I got to get. Well, I already have a Molly valve cover gasket here. I also got to do the camshaft plug. They're on the side of the head right in front of the distributor. And hopefully that pretty much wrap it up. But I'm gonna get started pulling this oil pan gasket off real quick. I just called AutoZone, made sure they had the gasket in stock, and they do. And so I already had those other stuff here. Well, I've got to pick up the fuel filter and his oil up at AutoZone. He wants Mo 1 high mileage. I have nothing but OEM here. So anyways, I'm gonna get to pulling this apart real quick, throw it on the time lapse. All right, so covered this in videos before when I'm actually doing this oil pan gasket, using just a little torch or whatever, heating up the oil pan just right around the edge, and it peels that gasket right off. I'm putting links in the description for all these different things I'm doing as far as like taking that oil pan gasket off. There's one for actually repairing or replacing the oil pan gasket on the CRV that's a little more detailed, and then I've got valve lash adjustment videos and all that stuff too. So let's get this gasket off right here. Okay, and I've said it many times. Every time I demonstrate doing this with a torch, this is remarkably better than taking a grinder or whatever and trying to remove the gasket. Simplest way, hands down. It's just make sure you don't burn yourself. Other than that, that's it. You know, it's good to go. Now just use a little brake cleaner, clean it up. We'll be ready to reinstall the oil pan with a new gasket. Pretty straightforward cleanup there. Just making sure we got the dirt out of the oil pan there with some brake clean. And now we're ready to reinstall the new gasket. I've already got the block surface wiped down, cleaned free of dirt. And I'm gonna wipe it again just to get this oil residue back off of it. But I'll do that once I put the gasket onto the pan. New gasket is right here. Again, OS 30630T. Make sure that has the T on the end. That's gonna make all the difference, is having that T on the end. Without that T, it's trash. So this is the most expensive gasket that you can buy at AutoZone for an oil pan, but I'm telling you, it's worth its weight in gold. So I preach this gasket all the time. I've never had one leak personally. The only time I've ever seen one leak is whenever people left the little metal rings that are on the original oil pan gasket down here, and then they put this gasket on over those metal rings, and it lets it leak. You can actually see one of those little metal rings there. So there's only two of them. There's one and there's one, and they're both located right here, next closest to the torque converter. So let's get this gasket onto the oil pan and wipe the surface down one more time, and then we'll be ready to put the oil pan back home. All right, so now we've pretty much got the oil pan gasket installed in, and the oil pan is back on. I just rinsed it down with some brake clean. Still got to put like my little inspection plate back over the torque converter there, but reassemble the bottom end. We're good down here. Then we'll move to the top side. What's up, guys? So I'm back here in the shop. It's the next morning. I've got my Duralast filter for the fuel. This is a wicked filter though. So Duralast uses a lot of other manufacturers to make a lot of their stuff, including this fuel filter. So good brand fuel filter. I really like Wix filters. Those are generally available in like O'Reilly's, but got our filter, and then I got the Felpro cam seal. Now this one is a little bit better quality. It's the type you actually have to remove the cam cap to put in. It's a little more work to put this one in, but this one will probably never ever leak again. So, and then we got a Molle valve cover gasket. I really like these gaskets. They're made in Japan, good quality stuff, and it's very comparable to the OEM stuff. And then I've got the Mobil 1 high mileage, full synthetic 5W30. We're gonna get all this put in here and get these valves adjusted, and this CRV will be ready to hit the road. So again, if you have any questions about any of this stuff that I'm gonna be doing, I do have more detailed videos, and I'll put links to those all in the description. They'll give you more information about how to do it if you're actually in the market to do it yourself. Otherwise, I'm just gonna turn this on some quick time lapse and knock it out real quick. All right, so I'm doing the cam cap real quick, the plug. Now you can see this is the original one that comes on like CRVs, and see how it clips in. Got those little clips, and it just has an O-ring on here. And over time, these O-rings fail and it starts to leak. Now this is the older style that would be used on like a B16, like for a Del Sol or something like that. It actually has a lip on here, and it has a valley in here, and you put some Honda Bond or some silicone or something of the like in this groove in here. You have to put it in, but the only thing is you actually have to remove the cam cap to put this style seal in, whereas you don't with this one. It just clips in and out. It is a little extra work to put this style in, but again, it'll never leak. So again, I'm just taking a little bit of Honda Bond. It doesn't take a whole lot. You just got to put something in there for it to seal to. So I got it all the way around there. Just plug it on there and put the cam cap back on. We're good to go. So again, that different style cam cap or cam plug is a little more work, but it's definitely worth the extra work if you feel like doing it. All right, back to what I was doing. The customer came to me and said that he didn't think these valves were terrible, but at the same time, the intakes are supposed to be in metric. It's like 0.0, or I'm sorry, 0.10. Yeah, the intake's supposed to be 0.10, which is standard like 0.004, where the exhaust is supposed to be 0.007. This is the 0.007 that I have, and this is actually the 0.004. And I'm on two separate filler gauges, but the I've got it on cylinder 3 here, and the 0.007 is still loose. It's still loose on the intake side, and it's supposed to be a 0.004. So yeah, it's pretty loose. So I'm gonna go finish knocking these out and hopefully have it running better than ever. All right, now I've got the valves adjusted, and it's time to reinstall the valve cover with a new valve cover gasket, and then I'll move on to doing the fuel filter, and we'll be wrapping this job up. Now this CRV came to me with a Felpro gasket. You can tell by it being blue in color, it's the only one that's blue. I tend not to try to use Felpro because a lot of times they stretch, and if you ever need to reuse it, it's really hard to get back in here. Let's see if I can, which this one actually doesn't look to be stretched, but the customer did request a new gasket. But oftentimes they'll stretch, and it makes it really difficult to get it back into the valve cover, and a super headache. And it's just, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, well, you can wipe the gasket off with some brake clean, set it out in the sun, and it'll contract back to its original shape. And I just don't have time for that here in my shop. I'm trying to get stuff in and get it out. I really like I said, the Molly gaskets. This one's actually been here in the shop for a minute, so it's a little dusty, but it comes with the new gaskets for little grommets here that holds the valve cover down. Comes with a new actual gasket and the valve cover, or the tube seals here, and they're all a little bit better quality. They're like, to where this one's like a silicone, this one's more like a rubber, like an OEM gasket. So we're gonna get this Mall gasket on here and get her reinstalled onto the CRV. All right. Last but not least, I use a little bit of Honda Bond. This is Honda Bond. You can use a regular gray RTV or whatever, and just put a little dab right here in these corners. It doesn't take that much. All right. And we got a little bit of a dab right there in the corners, and now we're ready to reinstall it on our CRV. All right, and also on this bracket here that holds the upper plenum, I've seen recently another one that came in that was mounted like this. These little nuts need to go down. All right, so I've pretty much got the valve cover reinstalled now, and now I'm gonna work on doing the fuel filter. All right, since I did the oil pan gasket on this one, drained all the oil out, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the main power to the distributor and then spin it over a couple times until my oil pressure light goes off on the dash. That way I know it has oil pressure and I'm not spinning over dry. So to do that, we'll just disconnect the distributor here, like that, and then it won't start. So we'll be able to spin it over. Let's see. So you can see our oil light here, and it'll go off whenever it builds oil pressure. All right, so the oil light went off. So now let's reconnect the distributor and we'll get started up. Running like a top. So now I've just got to clean up my mess because I've just got stuff strewn everywhere. It's actually a cylinder head from another car, but let me clean up this mess and then we'll go for a test drive. All right, let's take her for a quick spin down the road. Got an SRS light on there. Transmission feels like it has a little flare in it. Maybe it's just because it's cold. You can see it's not up to 10. But overall, I'd say the engine itself seems pretty healthy. Anyways, guys, thanks for stopping by the channel. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. There will be more coming in the future. Hopefully do a little more DIY, actually show you what's going on, but just I don't feel like doing a lot of redundancy because a lot of the stuff that I did in this episode, I already have more in-depth DIY videos on how to do it. So again, if you're new here, I invite you to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And I always appreciate those likes, those comments, and make sure you check out HondaResource.com. Pick up some merch or something today. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you on another one soon.